Hey everybody, I'm Todd Anderson.
And I'm Ross Merriam.
And you're watching the Versus series by StarCityGames.com. So today on the Versus series, Ross and I will be delving into Modern, fresh off of the Invitational Top 8.
I don't have any Delph cards in my deck.
But I do. Fresh off the Invitational Top 8, where we featured 8 different archetypes.
Welcome to Modern.
Right, but if you look at the Day 2 metagame breakdown of the Invitational, at least in the Modern format, the format was pretty heavily defined by Jeskai Control, which had, I believe, around 20 copies on Day 2, as well as Hollow One, which I believe had 11 copies, and then
humans. There
were 11 copies of Humans, which didn't make top 8. And I am going to blame that on them playing a bad standard deck. Because Humans is a great deck in Modern. I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point that Humans is quote-unquote the best deck. But one of the greatest things about Modern is that it's so explosive and so diverse that even though there is a best deck, there's still 20 different viable strategies that you could bring to the table. I would like you to talk about your deck first.
Okay, I am playing one of the top 8 decks in the Invitational. This is Anthony Skripchek's Mono Green Devotion deck. A deck that I've actually liked for a long time and have been hoping it would get the boost it needs to really be a consistent contender. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's sort of on the fringe. I do like Anthony's list a lot. I like Summoners backed in the deck because being able to find extra copies of Burning Tree Emissary on the turn where you want to go nuts is great. And it can find a big spell later. So you need that sort of split card in order to gain consistency in your ramp deck. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe Adventurous Impulse would be a good card in this deck. Anthony's list doesn't have any, just the Oaths of Nissa.
Yeah, well, I mean, Adventurous Impulse finds what, creature or land?
Yeah, so
and it's a sorcery.
Yes.
Whereas Nissa can find creature, land, or planeswalker.
Yeah, I wanted to play both.
Sure. I think 4 copies of that effect is more than enough, especially when you have so many more important things to do on turn 1, like play some sort of mana generation effect. Yeah. Your deck really gets ahead by playing an early mana generation effect, using that not only to stick onto the battlefield to power Nykthos, but just having more explosive draws.
Yeah, makes sense. I know Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl has been a thing in Modern for a while now, and this is one of the Arbor Elf Sprawl decks. We saw Ponza do pretty well when Blibbery Elf got unbanned, but as far as Sprawl Arbor Elf decks go, this one's my favorite, because if I'm going ham on making a ton of mana, I want to do the most ridiculous thing I possibly can.
I mean, are you playing Genesis Wave?
See, I play Genesis Wave.
I also like Genesis Wave.
Yeah.
But I think the Summoner's Pact version is important just because it showcases that card specifically, and it's something that, outside of these busted Primeval Titan combo decks, we don't really see it that much.
Yep.
And in this version, being able to find Burning Tree, even though you have to pay 4 mana on turn 3 or else you lose, a lot of times if you're finding the second Burning Tree Emissary to power out a crazy Nykthos, you can just pay for it on turn 3 after having a nutso turn.
Yeah, and you're just so far ahead at that point. Obviously not a play you want to make against a heavier removal deck, but you want to make those explosive plays in matchups that are going to be a race. So those are matchups that are probably not going to have a lot of interaction for you, so that tends to be safer in the matchups where you actually want to do it.
Yeah, I also just really like the ability to find stuff like Hornet Queen against decks that just pile out a bunch of creatures like Affinity.
Yep.
Infect, when they don't draw Blighted Agent, it's very good there. So, I mean, there's a lot of good one-ofs too. Like Reclamation Sage can unlock some stuff. Rurik Dar just completely closes the door on stuff like Storm. And you can get that on the battlefield as early as turn 3. Like, the deck is very fast.
Yes, your explosive draws are really impressive, and the deck has a decent amount of staying power too because of the planeswalkers. You got Nissa, Voices Zendikar, and Garruk Wildspeaker. Like, you can just grind a little bit with people, and some of the toolbox creatures for Summoners Pact also help that plant. So the deck is more resilient than it looks on paper, and also pretty explosive. Not as explosive as a deck like Storm or a deck like Infect. You're usually winning turn 4 or 5 unabated, but that's fast enough when you have a little bit of resilience.
Yeah. My side, I'm going to be playing Michael Hampton's top 4 finishing Mardu Hollow One.
Was it just daggering my deck that was top 8 instead of top 4?
I just want to, be clear. Mine is a little bit better. No. So this matchup, I think in particular, is really bad for Mardu Hollow One, specifically because I have a very limited amount of interaction. And when you're playing a deck like Hollow One, if your opponent's deck is faster than yours, or at least consistently faster than yours, you can just lose. Like you can't really do anything about it. This version is stepping away from collective brutality in favor of lingering souls to have a little bit more long-term resiliency against decks with spot removal. And I think that is going to be a huge downside for this particular matchup because normally collective brutality, at least it kills a mana creature on turn 2.
Yeah, kill an emissary, take some devotion down, maybe strip a summoner's back from my hand.
Yep.
It can do some stuff. So
yeah, this deck has been popping up quite a bit recently in Modern, and along with Humans and Jeskai, it's been one of the top 3 pillars of the format. And we saw multiple times on camera last weekend where the Hollow One decks just grinded through all of the Jeskai control decks just over and over again because they had so many creatures that had basically a second life, much like you see in Standard with things out of the mono red deck where if you kill it, it still has some value or can come back or requires a very specific type of answer. This deck just does all of that in spades and for very cheap. Things like Bloodghast, Flamewake Phoenix, yes, they don't play defense very well, but you have all the rest of your deck to do that if you need it to. And Lingering Souls, I think, does a great job of playing defense as well.
And really also great against spot removal. So the deck is pretty explosive when it gets its Hollow One draws. So I like that that duality it has. You don't sacrifice any of your resilience in order to gain these explosive draws, but you win 10% of your games that are just impossible for your opponent.
Right.
Because you play 2 4/4s for free on turn 1.
All right. Well, let's go and get to the match. Let's see who takes it down between Mono Green Devotion and Mardu Hollow One. All right. I'm going to be on the play here for game 1 since I lost yesterday. My hand has, it's got Burning Inquiry. It's got a Hollow One. And it's got a land. Let's get these wheels spinning and see what happens.
Well, my hand's great, but I guess it's going to change soon. I'm only missing one piece of it, but I have the most important thing to have in my opening hand is a mana creature, and I have that here. I have ways to develop Devotion, and I have ways to dig for the last piece. So this hand's great.
All right, I'm going to go to 18. Yep. I'm going to go and play this Burning Inquiry. One of the coolest things about Burning Inquiry is that it's two-sided, and occasionally you just hit all the lands out of your opponent's hand, and then they just don't do anything.
I have done that several times.
All right, I have 8 cards. Do you want to do dice rolling, or do you just want to... We'll just pick them. All right, I shuffled my hand a little bit, so you take whatever you want.
I got 10 cards.
All right, this one, and this one. All right.
3 hollow ones.
Oh yeah, we didn't hit a hollow one, and I didn't look at the 3 cards I drew, so there is a chance that I have another hollow one. Sneaky. Nope, just one.
That's really good. You hit 2 flashback cards and a Flamewake Phoenix, so 3 cards that are relevant in your graveyard.
Yes,
and get to play a hollow one. Well,
I hit a land, a bird, and an Oath of This. That could be very good or not very good.
My hand got a lot worse. Crack this fetch for a forest and play an Arbor Elf. I'm at 19. You can go.
So one thing I saw Michael Hamilton do quite a bit was he played Burning Inquiry and Goblin Lore before playing a land, even though having that land was pretty necessary in a couple spots. I'm not sure if he's wrong or right. I'm just, that was something, it came back and punished him quite a bit. So I think maybe leaning on playing your land first is a little more important, even though you could hit something like Bloodghast. In this particular instance, I can cast Burning Inquiry before I play my land. And since I have 2 lands, the odds of me discarding both of them, I think, are pretty low. But I don't know if that's a gamble I actually want to take. There's also a world where I play Flameblade Adept, get back Flamewake Phoenix, and next turn I try to go off with Burning Inquiry plus Flameblade Adept. I think it's the latter. So take 2.
You're at 16.
Flameblade, Phoenix, and whack for 6.
I'll go to 13.
Go ahead. You never like spinning your wheels in this deck without some guaranteed value. So I could have cast Burning Inquiry that turn, and if I just found nothing, the only thing I was really doing was bringing back Flamewake Phoenix. But now with Flameblade Adept, I'm potentially turning this Burning Inquiry into a minimum of 3 extra damage.
Well, I didn't draw a second land.
Oh, Burning Inquiry brown you.
Instead, I drew a bunch of cards that cost a lot of mana.
That is one of the downsides to playing a deck like Green Devotion, where you have a bunch of these 1 mana, or sorry, like 5, 6, 7 mana cards, but they're like tutor targets. But if you just draw them, they're not very good.
That is very true. They do go well together, though.
All right,
This is a lot of damage.
it is a lot of damage.
They have Death Touch and Trample.
All right, so I think I want to be flashing back the Lingering Souls this turn, as well as casting the Burning Inquiry. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna fetch Shock. So that's gonna put me to 13. Just in case I have the Lingering Souls in my hand after I resolve the Burning Inquiry, I want to just be able to hard cast that next turn if I don't have much else to do. And I don't think my life total is under much pressure this turn.
It is not.
All right.
The best defense is a good offense.
So actually, that actually might be bad. So burning. No. Wait. So there is value to not casting Burning Inquiry when your opponent's hand is bad. There's a chance I just play Flamewake Phoenix here and just smush for this. This can't be blocked. So if I cast Burning Inquiry, Ross's hand can just get good. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
I did. I thought about that.
Wow. All right. Whatever. I'm just going for the full-on beatdowns. Let's go.
Okay, so there is the problem here where if I don't chump block anything this turn, I take exactly 9 and go to 4, and I'm dead to the Phoenixes in the air next turn, and I don't think I can do anything about that, so I think I have to block, even though that probably also leads to me not doing anything.
All right.
So I take 5, go to 8.
Yep.
Need a land here to have any hope, and I'm probably still dead. So the problem here is that if I just cast this Eternal Witness, Todd just plays Burning Inquiry and I'm dead because both these will have 4 power.
Yeah, but you don't know how Burning Inquiry.
That's true.
I did just announce it from the heavens.
Yeah.
So feel free to use that information as you will.
The thing is, if I can't Summoner's Pact and
survive.
and then block things and pay for it. Yeah, this is the only thing I can do.
Okay.
Just get back Forest, or yeah, you can go. Missing that land drop was no bueno.
All right, so this is guaranteed 4. So he puts him at 4.
Yep.
And as long as I play this Burning Inquiry on this, it should be enough to attack for lethal. So we'll just do that. We won't bother resolving it because there's no real reason to.
Okay, we're here for sideboarding. On my side, I like the white splash for these essentially unbeatable enchantments, which is all of white sideboard in Modern. They just have so. No matter the matchup, there's just some unbeatable enchantment.
That's the white identity in Modern. It's literally just sideboard cards that say win the game in very dumb matchups.
Yep, and we got 2 of them here. We got Rest in Peace to shut off the graveyard shenanigans, stop Delve, or at least make Gurmang Angler very prohibitive to cast. Worship is also a really tough card for the Hollow One decks to beat. They usually don't have an answer to it, and they also don't have enough interaction normally in order to get the claws, although Collective Brutality is a way around it.
Yep. In this specific instance, you saw Lingering Souls. I think as the mono green devotion player, you need to assume that Brutality is just not in the main deck.
Yep.
And you don't have enough things to escalate that it's probably not coming in out of the sideboard. And if most people end up copying Michael Hamilton's deck list, which I think they should, I think it's very good. I think Collective Brutality not being in the deck is like pretty likely.
Yeah. And I am cutting just some of the high-end tutor targets that aren't that applicable in this matchup. We saw in game 1, like I missed a land drop and just got run over early, so I want to focus on my low end and just have a little bit of high end that wins the game once I get my mana established.
Yeah, Crater of Behemoth and Hornet Queen do a great job of that. You don't really need these. These are for very specific matchups, like Rorkthar for Storm, Primeval Titan for like control decks, Acidic Slime for things like Affinity, where you just need like to unlock that. You need to kill the Cranial Plane so you don't die that turn.
Yeah.
And then Thrun for control decks.
Yeah, exactly. Slime might be relevant here against a Hollow One, but that's not the kind of game that I'm trying to play.
Right.
I'm trying to not interact as much and go over the top of what you're doing. You're the deck that's trying to interact, and wow, does your sideboard have a lot of cards to do so? Yeah,
no, this is one of the reasons why I really like Michael Hamilton's sideboard. Or liked his deck in general, because I thought his sideboard was really good. So Enduring Explosives is a way for me to clear off a bunch of these 1-mana cards.
I just never want to enter a Modern tournament without this card in my deck.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
I mean,
unbelievably good.
there's so many matchups where it can just end the game on the spot by being, a 2-for-1, let alone a 3-4, sometimes even more for 1.
And the fact that it's a sweeper that is very good against Thalia. For those who don't know the interaction, you can set engineered explosives cost for X being less than the number you want it to end on because it gets the counters from Sunburst, and you pay an extra mana, and that if you pay an extra color with that extra mana, you will get an extra Sunburst counter. So if you need to do it on 2, you can say X is 1, pay blue-red to pay its cost and the tax for Thalia, and it'll come in with 2 counters, and you just get to blow everything up for the same mana that you wanted to pay anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It doesn't reduce if you're on 1, though, because you still need to pay at least 1 color of mana.
Yes.
So, wait.
Unless you have a colorless land.
No, so you can set for X equals 0 and then pay a blue. Okay. All right. No, that's cool. Okay.
If you need to do it for X equals 0, then it's tough.
Sure.
You need a colorless land.
But we also are bringing Grim Lavamancer. I think Explosive Lavamancer are just going to be insanely tough cards for Ross to beat if we get either of these off pretty early. Fatal Push just allows us to slow him down by killing some of his early mana creatures. And what we're going to be doing is siding out some of our cards that are designed to help us win longer games. We're not really trying to extend the game that much. Like, obviously, bringing in these removal spells is going to make the game naturally go a little bit longer. But we still want to be more reliant on our explosiveness with things like Hollow One and Gurmag Angler. We just want these cards to slow Ross down. We want to take away his early options and try to make his deck not be able to function.
Yep.
And then boarding out a land because we're on the draw. We have 2 copies of Sacred Foundry, so we can still potentially explosives for 3 if we want. But Bloodghast is not really going to do much in this matchup. Lingering Souls, the fact that they have flying is a big deal, but it just is a little too expensive for what I want to be doing.
Yeah, Lingering Souls is generally not good in non-interactive matchups, but very good in interactive matchups. Okay, we are here for game 2. I am on the play, and once again, I have good acceleration. I need to draw something to follow it up with, but I have at least one thing and one of my sideboard cards. So,
all right, we have a couple of things to do in the first few turns, and we get to spin the wheel at least once, so I'm going to keep it. It's not as explosive because we're not putting a 4/4 on the battlefield on turn 1, but
you never know. You could.
That's true. Yeah, I could just peel Burning Inquiry right off.
I'm going to go to 17 for a Temple Garden and play an Arbor Elf.
Okay.
Pass.
All right. Go.
That is the card I didn't really want to see. Flameblade Adept is another one of those ways that this deck kills you without using the graveyard.
I'm about to get Rest in Peace and not give a flying flip. Color?
I will name green.
Okay.
I'll float a white.
Oh, wow. This is a draw from Mr. Merriam. So that's 4 mana? Sure.
Yeah. Float. Name green again. Get a bunch.
So you have a white and 2 green, or white and a green floating.
Yeah, I'm not going to use it, but
okay. Hit you for 1.
16.
Play 2 more Flameblade Adepts. That is one of the coolest parts about this deck. Even though it utilizes the graveyard quite a bit, you have a bunch of ways to actually win the game without using your graveyard. Cards like Hollow and Flameblade Adept are very explosive. And, oh god, what's this?
6 mana, 7 mana, Pact for Hornet Queen.
Wow.
And cast it.
Turn 2, Rest in Peace. Turn 3, Hornet Queen. That's pretty good.
I thought so.
All right.
You can go.
Did you peel the pact, or?
No, I had it.
Okay.
Had it the whole time.
We're going to play this a little slow. We don't want our Flameblade Adepts to die. We're going to just try to trade in some stuff like Phoenix. He has to double block these, which I guess is okay. But this is basically our only source of damage, and I want to just try to get as many Hornet Queen-S things off the battlefield as possible.
I'll take 2 and go to 14.
Okay. All right, pay foe.
Let's pay that this way.
Okay.
Okay. Let's untap this. Let's make green, white. Use the greens. I have green, red, white now. Use the green, red.
Are you just hoofing me?
3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 green and white, 3 green floating, and mushy for 6.
Okay. All right.
You get a 14 all.
Okay.
Both my unbeatable enchantments.
We can still win this game.
Nice Grimloft Mancers.
We can still win this game.
Can you?
Technically, if you draw all lands for the rest of the game, I need to draw explosives and 3 removal spells.
And 3 fatal pushes.
I have bolts.
You have bolts too, okay.
Yeah. All right. Cycle trigger.
You go to 12.
Yep. Man, I wish I had collective brutality. I could just kill you this turn. I'd be so sick. I just go Goblin Lore. All right, so we draw 4. These are exiled, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Flame Blade Adepts are going to be pretty big. Okay. Easy there, Tiger. Discard some.
Get him out of here.
Some useless stuff.
Yep.
So
What do we discard? Another
3,
Goblin
4.
Lore.
So these are 5s. So if he didn't have that worship, this would have been a very interesting game because I would have been trying to like grind through with Phoenixes and then just go for it. Because I have this and this, so I could have just done a ton of damage over the course of a few turns.
Yeah, that would have been tough to contain. But
Whatever, I quit. I quit.
I want to kill you.
Oh, wait, no, you're right. We actually, that was one of the things that people asked more about on the Versus series was that we actually play the games out. So I will play the game out. I'm at 12. I'm going to be dead pretty quick here to these Hornet Queens.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Burning Inquiry, you have no cards, so just get rid of your 3.
Oh, no, another worship. These ones.
Oh, no, that push. I need the fatal push. No. All right, cool. Put you to 1.
Yep. No blocks. I go to 1.
Actually, I can't attack with everything. I think I just die or come close to it. But you're still at 1. Is it a hoof? Is it a hoofy boy? Oh, no!
I will find Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Oh, what a game. All right.
So this makes 7 mana total because
Okay.
Nykthos makes 6 and it leaves 1 floating. So I don't have to tap any creatures. And I have exactly 8 mana.
All right.
I have 2, 4, 8 creatures. So everything gets +8/+8. That's already 64.
Yeah, 64
Plus 10 is
with
70,
trample.
78.
Yeah.
Attacking for 78 trample.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so you're at -66.
Yep, my turn.
Mm.
No, I have worship in play too. It's double-sided, right?
It's
You have to kill
double-sided,
all
yeah.
my creatures. No. All right.
That would be tough.
That was a sweet game. All right, let's go to game 3. Let's get an explosive Grim Lawmancer Fatal Push draw. And no rest in peace. No. All right, we're here for game 3, and I think I'm going to lose this game. I'm just going to go on record. I don't have an explosive opener, but I do have one of the cyborg cards that's very good in this matchup, so I'm going to keep it kind of experimentally to see if it's good enough. If Ross just has a rest in peace, I will flat out lose, but we'll keep.
My hand is not super explosive, but I have acceleration and something to accelerate into, so.
All right,
yeah, probably can't beat
I'm
that
going
one.
to just fetch a mountain. Well, you can also just wait a few turns if I don't have an explosive start right, and just cast like 2 or 3 mana things in the same turn, and then I might not be able to kill them.
Yeah, that is a thing I can do. And that is what I'm going to do.
I mean, there's no reason to just cast it, because I will just 100% kill it. Like,
Yeah.
you make me spend a mana or whatever. All right, I will get my beatdowns on.
19. I can also draw Rest in Peace.
That's true, too.
And stuff, I'll go to 18. Oh no, Rest in Peace was the bottom card of my deck.
Well, now it's not.
Yeah. Need to get you up at the top.
All right, I'm at 19, you're at 18.
Man, if I had just drawn, I guess where are you, Temple Guard? There you go.
So at any point, I could have just cycled Street Wraith to try to dig for a big spell, but since we were playing this on turn 1 almost 100%, and we drew this, I think I want to save it for the extra damage.
Okay.
Is it a rip? Rip Todd?
Rip
Rip in pieces.
So now I have the option of just playing this and like hoping to run Todd out of food. for the Grimlawmancer because I don't think this card's going to be that relevant. So, yeah, I'm just going to play Burning Emissary.
Burning Emissary not looking nearly as good as I hoped it would.
Yeah.
Need to draw more in multiples.
Well,
All right,
it's hard to build devotion against a turn 1 Grimlawmancer.
That's fair. Well, but you had in, like, you know, game...
The game where I missed my second land drop?
Yeah. yeah. All right, I'm at 16.
Sure. You got 16 to 18.
Go 14 trigger. All right, shoot it. Hit you for 2.
I'm at 16.
Go.
Okay. Crack this fetch. I go to 15. Get a forest. Hope you don't have engineer explosives.
I don't.
I guess you would blow up your 2 things too, but...
All right, I'm going to bolt 1.
Yeah. 3 Arbor Elves. This is a game where I really wanted Utopia Sprawl to have an accelerant that isn't vulnerable to removal. Yeah, more fetch lands is no bueno.
All right.
So 14 all?
Yep. I don't have a second card to put in there just yet, but I've got some draws. I'll go ahead and fetch.
So now
So I'm at 15, you're at 14. You got 1 to stick around.
No, you missed your shock off Street
No.
Wraith. Right?
Oh, you're right.
So
I'm
you're
at
at 13.
Yeah, sorry.
So 13 to 14.
Good call. Probably just want red over black.
So I don't think this card is going to get me anywhere. I think what I need to do is fetch. So I'm at 13.
Okay, 13 all.
Yeah, no need to get the Stomping Ground. We were a ways away from doing that. And I don't know why. I'm pacting. I don't know why I was shuffling again.
I don't either.
I will pact for my Scavenging Ooze.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
I thought so.
You gonna go and eat this land?
I'm going to make a green, untap this, so I don't give Todd a chance to respond to the Arbor Elf, because Arbor Elf's not a mana ability. I'm going to play Ooze. And now, because I'm worried about Lightning Bolt, I am going to first exile a creature in my graveyard.
Resolved.
I gain a life. Go to 14.
Yep.
And now I will exile another creature in my graveyard.
Okay, you're at 15. That resolves.
Okay, so we
And
got
then
it out
you're
of bolt
gonna eat
range,
this.
and yeah, now I'll exile Todd's land to hopefully keep my Arbor Elf around.
All right, hit you for 1. Put you to
To 14.
14. I'm gonna play another Lavamancer and say go.
Okay, that turn went well for me.
Yeah, my draw has not been very good. Whenever this deck draws more than 3 or 4 lands, it usually starts to have some
so
trouble.
pay for my pact.
Yep.
Let's untap a land.
Mhm.
Attack you.
Yep, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll just have you take 4, go to 9. Doesn't affect my clock at all. I might want to exile a card Todd puts in the graveyard to stop a Lavamancer activation. Nope. That's pretty good. What else you got? Did you find a Fatal Push? Ooh.
All right. Attack.
For 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I go to 11.
Pass turn.
On your end step, I'll exile this emissary.
All right. So this is, I could have dealt an extra damage here, but I decided to wait. I'm gonna cycle Street Wraith in response. I'm gonna go to 7.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna shoot this down with Lavamancers.
Yep.
This is before it gets the counter. I do lose my Faithless Looting, but I think it's worth it because Ooze is so big and so good at this spot.
That was a mistake on my part. I should have
Just
exiled the
one-time tap.
creature in response to Faithless Looting. But I thought,
I mean, that's fair too.
yeah.
It would have changed my turn a little bit, like based on my draws and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I did
yeah.
not think about Street Wraith into double activation. So I'm at 12 after the Ooze activation resolves,
Yes.
and you're at 7.
Yes.
Now things are once again going poorly.
Losing the looting does hurt, though, because my hand is still not very good. I think we're in okay shape.
I'm trying to think what I do with this, and there isn't a whole lot. Kind of wish I still had something like this Primeval Titan.
You only have 5 mana. I know you have a 6 in hand.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Um,
I convinced Ross to board out the Primeval Titan. Actually, no, I convinced. What was the last card I got you to board out? It was the Thrun?
The Thrun.
Okay.
The Thrun.
Yeah, I'll give you this. If you want the Thrun back, you can have it. I don't think it'd do anything in this spot.
So I'm at 12.
Yeah.
2 cards in hand.
If you want to look through your deck just to make sure that there's nothing that you want to go get, feel free. You know,
sure.
We are novices with these archetypes, and specifically the Green Devotion deck. It is very new and cool, and a lot of 1-ofs and stuff because of Summoner's Pact.
So there is Eternal Witness I can get for this Scavenging Ooze.
That sounds dope.
It would just be a 2/2.
For now. I don't have anything to do yet with the Grim Lavamances. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it, but you gotta do something. If you just pass turn here, you might just die.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. The thing is, like, I don't know what this does.
Well, I don't actually anything that enables the Flameblade Adepts. I think you might just die anyway. So if you only have 1 pact, you might just want to hope that you get a land next turn and that I do nothing. Because if I draw a Faithless Looting or Burning Inquiry or Goblin Lore, that's going to equate to, roughly 8 damage plus 10, 11, 12 with these.
I'm just going to play Garrick and untap some lands.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
All right, let's get a good draw here. How you say worst draw possible? All right, everybody at Garrick.
I will block a Grimlawmancer. Garrick goes to 1.
All right, fetch Tasigur. I don't have a land to get.
So you're at 6.
Yeah, 6 to 12, and Garrick's at 1.
I'm gonna crack to 11 life.
Yeah, so now he gets to pact Hornet Queen, and I'm at a precariously low life total. We can still kill him if we are able to chain some stuff together. Yeah, the Sacred Foundry's gone, both Blood Crypts, both mountains, so what if Foothills is a dead land? I'm going to double check. That was one reason why I probably should have fetched a swamp earlier when I cracked one of my lands.
Okay, make 5 mana, untap 2 of my lands, make 7 mana. Play a Hornet Queen.
Okay.
Play this land tapped and pass.
I'm just going to die to Crater Hoof next turn. Cool.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Okay. Draw. Okay, I lose. I'll let you do it. But so if I had drawn explosives, I could have cleared this, sent both these at Garrick, this at face, let him trade if he wants, and that still gives me enough food for this if I want. Actually, I guess I would. Yeah. That's what would happen. Unfortunately, that was the spot I was in. I could have played the turn against the Scavenging Ooze a little differently. I was just very afraid of it and really wanted Ross to tap out.
Yeah. I guess if you would just send everything at Garrick to try to deal with it, I
probably don't attack with this and just force you to do this. Oh, yeah, maybe this is actually not that bad. So, because these have to kill things because of Death Touch. So maybe I'm not dead. Because I'll keep you off of Hoof at least. All right, all these at Garrick.
I guess I want to just protect the Garrick, so...
Yeah, 1/1/1, so you have 3 total power left, 3 creatures, these go...
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have a Street Wraith or something, it's still more than lethal.
Yeah. Kill this. Go.
But, yeah, so yeah, you trading gives you food for Lavamancers, so now you deal with the Garrick there.
I I guess I'm not dead. Okay, let's play it out.
Jeez.
You can still pact for
this Eternal Witness I just drew.
sure. I mean, witness back.
the Scoos.
Yeah, eat
So
Tasker.
attack you for 3,
Yeah,
brings
I'm
you
at
to 3.
This is why you play it out.
Witness back Scavenging Ooze, and I'm just going to immediately get the Tassiger.
Mm-hmm.
I go to 12. Pass. I just keep drawing the cards I want to pact for. What are you hoping to draw on TV? Or some bolts?
I don't know.
I mean, if you leave yourself with bolt, then you get to kill 3 things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still at 3, so
Yeah.
I can still go. All I need is 1 bolt and go bolt, block, shoot.
Just pick the one I keep.
Right.
Yeah. You can keep this one, and you can keep that one. Discard these.
I did not keep a good one.
2 emissaries and the pact.
Oh no! You should have let me keep the other pile. You might have had a shot. Let's see. Cycling Street Wraith puts me to 1. I don't think I have an out. Casting Gurmag Angler leaves me dead to the Flyers. Dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Dead.
Now you're actual dead.
Actual faction.
Not just chat lethal.
Yeah.
I was going to worship you.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think that was actually fairly indicative of both sides of this matchup. Not only does Ross not have a lot of stuff in game 1 to really interact with me, but when I have my explosive draw, especially on the play that features Eternal and Hollow One, or more than that, things coming back out of the graveyard and such, it's very difficult for your deck to keep up. Like, I put you in a spot where you're basically having to chump block on turn 3, and that's definitely not where you want to be in that matchup.
Yeah. You see, I'm playing Mono Green Devotion, which is generally a non-interactive deck. The Hollow One deck has 2 different kinds of draws. You have the explosive sort of Hollow One add-up draws that don't use the graveyard as much, and then you have the really grindy draws that use the graveyard a ton, and you grind out, and you want the grindy draws against interaction-heavy decks, and you want the explosive draws against the interaction-light decks. So this is a matchup where you want to be less graveyard reliant, and you saw that in sideboarding. Todd brought out Bloodghast and Lingering Souls, some of his graveyard reliant cards. And the game he won was a game where he's on the play, he has one of his explosive draws, and I stumbled, and that was all he needed. And then in the post-board games, because he can't be super reliant on having those explosive draws, you bring in a lot more removal to make sure I don't get off the ground, and you're doing a good job of that in game 3. Draw just didn't come together. Really needed one earlier inquiry or looting to feed your Grim Lavamancer, or just a fatal push earlier on my ooze. The ooze was good enough that you were forced to get rid of the flashback on looting, which would have been really good, and I was just able to barely get to Hornet Queen, and Hornet Queen sort of locks things out.
Yeah, I mean, game 3, I basically only drew Faithless Looting until the Burning Inquiry at the very end where I died, and when you're playing 12 of those effects and you only draw 1, your deck is very reliant on them to actually get off the ground. We saw a lot of Hollow One on camera over the Invitational weekend where for example, Owen Turnwald in the first round of the Invitational, his game 1, he played tapped land. His Goblin Lore on turn 2 got hit with a Spell Snare. And on turn 3, his only play was cycle a Hollow One and play a 3rd land. Draws like that are what I think keep people away from really loving this Hollow One deck. But it's really fun. The fun draws are very good. It's really resilient when Jeskai is one of the top decks in the format, which it is right now. So I think it could continue to be a dominant force, but the bad draws just feel so bad.
Yes, it is a polarizing deck for sure. And it was, I think, before humans got really big, it was the 2 of them. It's Hollow One and humans. And I think a lot of people would have said Hollow One was the better deck of the 2. But as it played out, humans is pretty favored in that matchup. Not by a ton, but by a significant amount. And that meant as those 2 decks were at the top, if one, as humans wins the sort of mirror between them, humans took over as the dominant best deck, and you saw Hollow One drop down a little bit. But now as Jeskai's coming up to beat the humans decks, Hollow One is a lot better against Jeskai.
I agree.
And so we're seeing Hollow One come back. But because it's modern, things happen a little bit more slowly. Definitely at the Invitational, we saw more Hollow One. I think in Minneapolis, we also saw more Hollow One. The open before it.
I think one of the major reactions to this format is we see these glass cannon decks that just kind of overran the Invitational top 8. Now, Aaron Barrich playing Infect just 3-0'd his top 4 and finals matchups, but one of which was Michael Hampton's. Is that? Am I getting his name right? I feel
Hamilton.
like Michael Hamilton. That's right. Michael Hamilton's Mardu Hollow One deck. Like he just 3-0'd it very easily. The draws from Hamilton were pretty good. Like I'm pretty sure he had a turn 1 Hollow One draw, but it just wasn't good enough. And I think that decks like Infect prey on these linear decks that have a small amount of interaction. Like I think the Infect's really good against humans. I think it's really good against Hollow One. Yeah. It's really good against basically any deck that isn't overloaded on removal. And if you ask Aaron Barrich, our Invitational champion, it's not even that bad against Jeskai. He said he beat Jeskai multiple times in the tournament. So if Infect is as good as he says it is, and it doesn't have as bad of a Jeskai matchup, it's possible Infect's just one of the better decks in the format and should see a rise in popularity, especially if Hollow One's still good, especially if Humans is still good, especially if people start playing more stuff like Crocline Ironworks and Mono Green Devotion. Like there's a reason why his path to victory was so easy. He played Green Devotion in the top 8, he played Mardu Hollow One in the top 4, and he played Crocline Ironworks in the finals. I picked him to win the tournament based on the matchups breaking down as they did, as long as Gerard failed to beat the Hollow One deck. Because I thought Jeskai would be a lot harder. And as long as the Mardu Pyromancer player, whose name escapes me, lost to Crocline Ironworks. And if those two things happen, I thought Infect had a very easy route to victory.
And that's exactly what happened. And you're right, Infect is definitely really good against the other linear decks. It's a little bit faster. Usually, like they get a lot of turn 3 kills, and they're pretty consistent turn 4. And if they just have like 1 bolt or 1 brutality, you can handle that no problem with a Vines of Asteroid or Blossoming Defense. So Infect was a good choice. I think I can't imagine it being favored against Jeskai, but yeah, if you play your deck well, modern decks are powerful. You can definitely get people. And the one thing that Infect is really good at doing against Jeskai is setting up one turn where you overload their mana, and they end the game with 2 or 3 pieces of interaction left in their hand that they just didn't have a window to cast.
Right, and that's very easy to do with a threat like Inkmoth Nexus, for example, because you're forcing the interaction on your terms. Like you don't have to activate it, and they're never really able to interact with it until the turn that you're guaranteed that you're going to kill them. Because if they have access to 4 mana, generally speaking, the most they can do is 3 spells in 1 turn. And if you're able to, hit your land drops, let's say like, your mutagenic growth cancels out 1, potentially like an Electrolyze or something, a lot of things can fall your way. And the fact that you get to dictate the pace of the game with Inkmoth Nexus versus them is very important. So I could definitely see, a couple games or a couple matches being completely decided on the back of Inkmoth Nexus being able to, or not being able to be killed at random times that you're not ready for your creature to die.
Yeah, I think Infect was a great sort of scissors choice for that tournament. I think the rock for Invitational was Jeskai Control or another removal heavy deck to beat up on humans, like Mardu Pyromancer. And then what the things that people brought to beat those decks are the slower, more resilient linear decks, things like Mono Green Devotion and KCI. And KCI is a great example of that, and probably the best of that group. And Infect comes in as scissors and beats up on all those decks really hard, while still having a good enough matchup against the heavy removal decks that you can get there.
The decks that we traditionally have seen Infect lose to in the past, Infect is not really favored against things like Jund. Decks that hit you on multiple levels, like they hit your hand, they put a clock on you, and they kill your creatures. These hyper-interactive decks like Jund, Grixis Death Shadow, just haven't shown up in recent weeks, and we saw Aaron Barrich just clean out this tournament, and it just made sense.
Yep.
And that was the thing that I really loved about watching him play the top 8, is it just made sense.
Yeah, we saw Jeskai come up 3-4 weeks ago as a response to humans, and now we're finally seeing the metagame respond to Jeskai.
Right.
And it usually takes about a month to go through the cycle, and that's where we are now. So I think you're going to start seeing more of these slower linear decks that are resilient against Jeskai, and especially the ones that make their removal bad, like KCI. Like all the bolts and helixes in the Jeskai deck are bad against them. You really punish them for being a little light on counter magic. And then we'll see more of the really fast linear decks that beat up on the slow linear decks. That's just the next step. And Modern's gone through these iterations over and over again in the last 5 or 6 years. but we're seeing it be a little bit more pronounced this year. Like we saw humans be really dominant for a while, and Jeskai now 22 people in day 2 of the Invitational is a lot.
Yeah, I mean it
for a
was
modern deck.
roughly 12%, I believe,
Yeah.
something like that.
Normally you see 7-8% as the best.
Yeah,
deck, so
modern is it's diverse, and that's one of the coolest things about it. Anyway, I know we've been blabbering on for a while. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation about modern, because this is what I do. This is what I love to do. You know, this is why I love doing coverage, because I get to talk about all this stuff. Cedric has to rein me in a little bit, you know, to keep me from going too deep into things. But with Ross, he just lets me talk.
Oh yeah, I love it too.
All right. Well, thanks for watching the Versus Series by StarCGames.com. Tomorrow, what we got tomorrow? Popper. For all you Popper aficionados, or if you're just interested in the format, we had a classic at SEGCon. It was very popular. We had the professor from Tulare Community College came, and he had a whole panel about Popper. I believe we're going to be posting those on YouTube. We recorded them. We're going to post on YouTube at some point in the near future, so keep an eye out for those. Popper's awesome. I wish there were more tournaments for it, so that more people would be invested in it, so there'd be more total decks and ideas and people really thinking about the format. You know, maybe in the near future.
I'm gonna push for it. I was 5-4 after day 1 of the no ban list Modern Open, but I liked my deck so much I wanted to play day 2. I did think about dropping and playing Popper.
That's fair enough. All right, well, thanks for watching. Make sure to come back tomorrow where we have Popper. This is Todd Anderson. That's Ross Merriam. Have a good one.